So alongside me is Ferrari GT driver Sam Bird, and last night we couldn't have written the script any better because, of course, you as one of the GT drivers and all the champions up there on the stage, which was a fantastic shot. But not only that, just before we started the celebration, Sebastian Vettel goes and does a new track record at Mexico and puts it on pole.
Absolutely, we couldn't have written it any better. So good afternoon, everybody. I'm looking forward to this, the world final. This is it. This is the sort of the crown jewel, as it were, for these drivers. So excited to see what happens in a 30-minute race this afternoon.
And how do you think the drivers, all the hard work in the championship is done and dusted, so, arguably, Sam, all the pressure is off, but actually is it? Because taking the honour of taking the World Championship across your competitors, not only in your home nation series, so Europe, Asia Pacific or North America, but also to be the best in the world.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, it's their Macau. If anybody's watching and knows Macau, for a Formula 3 driver, Macau is extremely important. This is their Macau. People will remember the champion, and people will remember the winner of this race. And the other races, yeah, they're important, but those two are the ones you want to win.
Understood. And Fabio Lima going from pole position. In fact, for Octane 126, they've got the entire front row with Fabio Lima and Bjorn Grossman. And you raced up against Fabio Lima, and he's a supremely competitive racer. He's going to be blooming hard to get past, isn't he, if he gets a good start?
I don't want to jinx him. I really don't want to jinx him. But my money is on Fabio. It would have been from day one of the weekend, to be honest.
Sure.
Not because he's looked blindingly quick here, just that I know the guy, I know what he's capable of. I've raced against him. I know that he's so talented, and I would like to see him win this weekend. I think that it would be well deserved.
Well, let's see if at the end of 30 minutes he can take the gold roof then. He's certainly weaving vigorously behind the Hublot safety car then, unlike his teammate Bjorn Grossman, who seems altogether more smooth and he's not taken as much out of it. Philippe Barron. Now, Philippe Barron in the Rosso Corsa car here is another really talented driver, and I can remember Philippe back in Formula 3 days, and he is someone that's adapted and has been supremely successful in GT racing, mostly with the Ferrari Challenge, it has to be said. Now, he told me that once he knew the championship was out of reach, Sam, all the focus was on taking this World Championship race. It is really important to them.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, this is winner takes all, so expect Grossman, Barron, Lieberhauser to be right on Lima's tail for as long as they can be, to be honest. The start's going to be crucial. Grossman's going to want to get ahead straight away.
Well, we're not far away from the start because the cars are gridding up behind the Hublot safety car, as you can see, and it's a packed grid, some 29 cars actually on the grid for this final race in the season 2017. We've been to some iconic tracks. We've had a phenomenal season, and it's here, the world final race, where we bring together the best of European drivers, North American drivers, and also those Asia Pacific drivers as well. World final is on its way. And as the lights go green, you can already see that Philippe Barron is champing at the bit right behind Fabio Lima as all the cars scream across the timing line heading towards turn number one. Philippe Barron certainly getting ahead of Bjorn Grossman as they head in towards turn number one, or is he? Grossman's going to have to make it work all the way, a long way around the outside there, but it will give him the inside for the next turn. There's some history between Philippe Barron and Bjorn Grossman, but Bjorn Grossman does put his car ahead of that of Philippe Barron. Fabio Lima just focusing and concentrating on what he needs to do. And he's converted that P1 into, that pole position rather, into P1. Here comes Alessandro Manzoni up on the inside of Cooper McNeil on the 170 car then, but Cooper McNeil with the inside line there, and Sam Smith right behind Alessandro Manzoni. They go almost three abreast, but Fabio Lima is stretching his legs already because the fight between Bjorn Grossman and Philippe Barron will slow them and will allow Fabio Lima to get up the road. Meantime, further back down the order, as you can see, there's lots of trading places going on as Peter Ludwig there is in a real battle. And here's Alessandro Manzoni that we go on board with right now. You can see the dashboard to the left of your screen. From 5th down to 4th, a bit of brakes, and then taking the curb, and he's following Sam Smith. The number 92 car, the British driver Sam Smith, then, who's currently running in P5 ahead of Alessandro Manzoni. Then it's Peter Ludwig and Wei Lu, of course, who is running in P8. But Fabio Lima, and already we have a car off, and sad to see that, but that car is beached, and dependent upon where that car is, surely not a early stage safety car. Yes, indeed. Commentators curse there, Sam Bird. Safety car has been called for.
Yeah, good start from Fabio. Solid. I thought Barron was going to get Grossman at turn 1, but Grossman then weaved to the outside, braked hard and late, and managed to keep the position.
And do you think then at the, as Wu it is that's out in the gravel there, in the early stage of the race, Sam, you can go around the outside of turn 1 because you've got the grip in the tyres?
Well, it depends on the person around you's line through turn 1. So if they take a very tight line, you can go around the outside, and then you've got the inside for 2.
Of course, that does set you up for turn 2.
And it depends on how aggressive they are in defending. So if they leave the door open, you would definitely have a go into 2 by going around the outside through 1. But Lima, good start. He didn't look under any pressure really into 1, and actually got a bit of a gap through the first stage of the lap. So, good from him.
It's a bit disadvantageous, of course, for Fabio Lima now, as we can see how the Lu car ended up in the gravel and beached in the gravel, the end of the World final race for that car. Here's a replay of the start. Barron was right on the back of Fabio Lima, and in turn, of course, Bjorn Grossman to the outside. As they head up towards turn number 1, we can see here now Barron had got ahead, hadn't he? And Grossman then, at that point, he must have made the decision to try and go around the outside.
Yeah, that was what his move needed to be, and yeah, he got through it, and he's still in second place.
So Fabio then, who had built a good margin before the safety car, of course that margin all reduced to 0 now as the cars are all behind the safety car, and that was Bjorn Grossman and Philip Barron side by side. Did give Bjorn Grossman the inside line for turn number 2.
Well, Barron got caught in the concertina effect behind Fabio Lima. He was actually quite comfortably in second place going into the braking zone into turn 1, but because of the concertina, Grossman was able to brake miles later than what Barron was. Barron was early on the brakes, and therefore Grossman actually was comfortably ahead by the apex of turn 1.
Well, big number of fans here to enjoy this world final race in Trofeo Pirelli, and of course the Ferrari show to come a little bit later this afternoon. That Ferrari show you'll be taking part in, Sam.
I will indeed. I'll be driving some fun cars. You'll have to wait and see what they are.
Yeah, all right. Just giving nothing away this weekend. No. And then in a week's time, of course, you're out there competing hard, and Ferrari have had a great year in WEC, and you'll be back on it next weekend.
Absolutely, trying to sew up the manufacturer's title and regain, hopefully, the championship lead in the drivers from our sister car.
I was going to say, you're going to have to beat some others as well, aren't you, in terms of your teammates or brand mates.
So I'm right in saying that 5 out of the top 6 currently are from the European Championship, with Cooper McNeil in 4th place, the best of the rest from North America.
You're absolutely right. Cooper McNeil in P4 is the best North American driver and the best of the Asia-Pacific drivers. No surprises. Philippe Pret, who's won the Asia-Pacific Championship, because Philippe Pret, actually, he knows this circuit really well, Sam, because he's raced in both the Italian Series and the European Series as well.
Absolutely. I mean,
and that track knowledge has got to be a benefit.
When you've got track knowledge, it does help a lot.
Well, there is Christian Birchinger, the team principal of Octane 126, leaning back then and looking pretty comfortable. It's really interesting. Just before the start of the race, Sam, I can't remember whether you were here or not, but they were jotting things down in their notepads with regard, and they were on the back of Fabio Lima's car, and Christian actually covered the notepad so that we didn't see it on the camera. A bit of subterfuge going on there.
Yeah, that's normal these days in sport. You see people covering their mouths these days whenever people talk, and it's that's what it's like. It's taken professionally. This is a serious championship, and obviously if they feel like they found something to give them an advantage, or they know something, they won't want their competitors seeing that and potentially doing the same as them, whether it be setup, whether it be rear wing adjustments, tyre pressures, anything like that.
So Fabio Lima then who leads the race, albeit behind the safety car. Very early safety car call, unfortunately, because of the Wu car going out and onto the gravel, which means that the order is Lima, Grossman, Baron. It's interesting that Jens Liebhauser went back from a very good qualifying position. He's back down to P9. I think it was from P4 down to P9, so he lost out there. But Lima, Grossman, Baron, McNeil, Smith, Vetzoni, Peter Ludwig, and Wei Lu, all pro drivers. The best of the AMs is still Jens Liebhauser, but it's further down the order, and there he is, right on screen, ahead of the Philippe Pret car, who's the best of the Asia Pacific drivers. There's Martin Nelson going through on our camera now as we flick back to the Hublot safety car on board, and no mention yet in terms of when that safety car is coming in. I have to say, the track recovery team here at Mugello, like the marshals, have been supreme and very, very efficient all weekend long. Whenever a car has been off the track, they've recovered it really quickly, Sam.
Yeah, they've been fantastic, and you know, they always are. Hats off to all the marshals who every single week tirelessly remove our cars from gravel traps and make sure we're safe when we're doing our job, because without the marshals
we couldn't go racing, could we?
We wouldn't go racing, exactly.
So our gratitude to them all around the world. They do a great job. So Fabio Lima, Bjorn Grossman, then two Octane 126 drivers before Philippe Baron, who is the Rosso Corsa racer, then the best of the North American racers, Cooper McNeil, in the WeatherTech liveried car, who runs in P4 at the moment. And the first 8 minutes, as we can see, Fabienne Volvend walking down the pit lane. Now, she has just become the ladies' world champion, and of course has made history earlier in the year at Imola when she became the first lady ever to win a Ferrari Challenge race outright, Sam.
Yeah, she's done a great job this year. Watching her this weekend, she controls races, she looks smooth, she looks fast, and she mixes it with all the guys. It's great to see, so congratulations to her. Race restarting now.
Oh, here we go then. Fabio Lima doing some vigorous weaving then as the lights go green. He has gone, and Bjorn Grossman, of course, for the same team as Fabio Lima, but there's no team orders here. Every driver for himself, and Philippe Baron on the back of Bjorn Grossman now, but Fabio Lima gets away and crosses the line now as they all head up this start finish straight.
Baron's going to be making a move on Grossman.
He's close enough, isn't he?
He's going to be taking a move on Grossman into turn one.
He's going to do it before turn one, Sam. A little bit of a rub between the two of them, but he'd got his nose in front before they even turned in. But Grossman comes back at him now. But Philippe Baron makes the car sufficiently wide, so he goes past Bjorn Grossman. There was a big incident between these two drivers at Imola, and Philippe Baron fighting seemingly with the car, and Bjorn Grossman right on his gearbox here. And Grossman is going to want to wrestle that position back, but Philippe Baron is notoriously difficult to overtake, in much the same way that Fabio Lima is. Not that that's going to be a worry to him at the moment, because he's 1.2 seconds up the road already, and you can see that Philippe Baron is one of these drivers, Sam, that seems to wring the neck out of whatever he drives.
Yeah, we saw it yesterday. He'd do 3 great corners, then a bad corner. And he's driving it like that today again. He looks biblically quick at times, but then he'll make silly mistakes, and now he's under pressure again, and he's lost the he's just lost second place because of a silly error. If he just got his head down and drove calmly, I think he'd benefit.
He is a very, very emotive racer as well, Sam. Do you know what I mean? And we've seen some moves from Philippe Baron which are absolutely magical. We've seen some others which are, you almost can't believe that a driver of his caliber would make an error like that. And sure enough, you called it as it happened. It was an error that allowed Bjorn Grossman to come back at him.
Now, he seems extremely quick out of the last corner and down the start-finish straight. So whether he's got a slightly lower rear wing setting than Grossman, that remains to be seen. But he's actually lost a load of ground in the final sector here. Again, a couple of mistakes. He
has, and now he's going to be under pressure from Cooper McNeil, of course, who is certainly a very, very talented driver as well. And Cooper McNeil is going to be eyeing him up. I'm not sure he's quite close enough, but if he can get even closer to the back end of the Rosso Corsa racer that we're on board with now, looking back at Cooper McNeil as they run across the timing line heading into turn number 1. So we're on board with Philippe Baron, who's now running in P3. Behind him is Cooper McNeil, who closes up under braking. Behind Cooper McNeil is Sam Smith, then it's Alessandro Vetzoni. But Fabio Lima and Bjorn Grossman are escaping up the road because, of course, as they fight, Sam, they're going to be slowed up, aren't they? They're slowing their pace.
Yeah, Cooper McNeil won a podium today. I saw him at the party last night. He looked a little bit disappointed with his championship result, his final standing. this year. Obviously, he's got a full season in IMSA next year with Scuderia Corsa, and he'll be piloting with Alessandro Balzan, which is great.
Just seeing that Philippe Pret, who was the best of the Asia-Pacific drivers, has dropped way down the order as well. Whether Philippe Pret has had an off, whether he has got a mechanical problem perhaps, but he's dropped right out of contention now. We're on board with Alessandro Vezzoni, who's running in P6, just behind the British racer Sam Smith, then in the number 92 car ahead, who finished the season P2 in the European Trofeo Pirelli Pro category. He won the AM category by some measure last year, stepped up to pros, and I think it's fair to say Sam has found it more difficult up against the pro drivers.
Well, you saw his line through there. He wasn't thinking about the second phase of the corner as much as Smith in front.
Right.
And that allowed him, well, that made him have a bad exit, and then he was under pressure from the car behind.
Well, hearing it from a top racing driver alongside us, then delighted to have Sam Bird, the Ferrari GT driver, with us as we're on board with Philip Barron now, and really under pressure now from Cooper McNeil then, as Cooper McNeil really closes up to Philip Barron. Philip Barron now floors it out of the turn, and Cooper McNeil is staying with him here. These Ferrari 488 cars, the first cars ever in the Ferrari Challenge with a turbocharged engine, heading up towards turn number 1. This is an incredibly fast straight, Sam, isn't it?
Yeah, did you see Barron though in a straight line there? He's definitely got something on the competitors in a straight line. So I'm thinking that he's got a slightly different...
you thought rear wing perhaps?
Rear wing or ride height difference. Maybe he's running the car a bit flatter instead of a bit more rake. So these kind of things can all add up with straight line speed.
At the moment, he does appear to be a little bit of a cork in the bottle, doesn't he? Because you've now got Cooper McNeil, who is trying to attack Philip Barron, but he's also having to try and defend a little bit from Sam Smith, who's right behind him, ready to bounce as well. And whilst these three are continuing to battle, Fabio Leimer and Bjorn Grossman are up the road. Another big mistake there from Philip Barron. Here comes Sam Smith on the outside of
fantastic move.
That's a good move from Sam Smith, isn't it? If he can make it stick.
Round the outside.
Wow.
He's got it done.
That's a good drive, isn't it? That's a good overtake.
And that all happened because Barron got on the gravel 3 corners before. That got Cooper McNeil a bit spooked, went to the inside, backed off. Smith saw his chance and went for it. Great move.
Alessandro Vezzoni taking a look at the inside of Cooper McNeil right now, but Vezzoni, of course, has got Peter Ludwig in the 111 car right behind him as well. So we're on board with Alessandro Vezzoni now. Sam Smith right on the back of Philip Barron as well.
Barron looks like the kind of driver as well that he's more comfortable when he's chasing than when he's defending a little bit.
Maybe, yep. That's a fair point. You could actually see him looking in his rearview mirror there to see exactly where Sam Smith was. So the incident involving cars 93 and 204 is under investigation, but now Sam Smith, look at this, there's virtually nothing between them. He's almost inside that Philip Barron car as Sam Smith dives to the outside now.
Oh, we want to see that.
Here it comes. It's a long way around the outside, but if he can maintain the momentum, he'll have the inside.
He's got it done. Great move.
Wow, we've seen 2 brilliant overtakes from Sam Smith there, Sam.
Yep, fantastic. He's moved up 2 positions in 1 lap, so he'll be delighted with that. But he's now 7 seconds behind Grossman, so he's got probably 7 laps. He'll need to do a second a lap to catch, let alone pass Grossman.
That's a big ask, isn't it?
Unless we see a safety car.
And that's not beyond the realms of possibility, it has to be said. And Barron there again. It just looks like the car is ill-handling Sam rather than him.
I don't know. I really don't know. But all I know is that he's struggling in that car a little bit.
For a driver of his calibre. And here it is, a replay then of Sam Smith. He left it as late as he could before diving out of the toe, didn't he?
Yeah, absolutely. Good, but another great move. 2 in 1 lap.
Well, there is our race leader, Fabio Leimer, who's 3.5 seconds up the road from Bjorn Grossman. I mean, it's great for Octane 126. I've got P1 and P2 at the moment, but Fabio Leimer is looking just completely faultless here. And I have to say, Sam, you having raced with him and up against him, it's going to take a Herculean effort from Bjorn Grossman, let alone Sam Smith, to get on terms.
It's not over till the fat lady sings. However, without a safety car, Fabio's got this under control, barring any disaster or commentator's curse from me or anything. I said it before the race that I fancied Fabio, and obviously right now you'd say that he's got a couple of fingertips on the trophy.
So at the moment then, the first 8 drivers are all pro drivers before the best of the AMs, which is Jens Liebhauser, ahead of Martin Fuentes, another pro driver. Then it's Chris Froggatt, Mark Musso, Martin Nelson, and Go Max is P14, but he of course is a pro driver. And here comes Jens Liebhauser now. Jens Liebhauser fighting here with the Martin Fuentes car. Martin Fuentes, a very, very good driver. Jens Liebhauser for Formula Racing is leading the AMs at the moment. And there you can see it's Liebhauser, Froggatt, Musso, Martin Nelson, Joshua Cartu, and then Chris Cagnazzi, P6 in the AM standings at the moment. Just under a shade, under 4 seconds is the advantage that Fabio Lima has over Bjorn Grossman, as Alessandro Vezzoni is chasing down that Cooper McNeil car, which is currently P5. And there is Philip Barron, and Cooper McNeil still within a hunt of Philip Barron. Alessandro Vezzoni just taking a look at the inside there, but was never going to be able to make it work. But you can see the most lively here probably is Peter Ludwig in the 111 car, who's himself going to be under pressure shortly from Wei Lu, who is lurking behind in P8 in the 199 car. But Philip Barron, as I said earlier, he's almost like a little bit of a cork in a bottle here, Sam.
You couldn't... Yeah, I don't know who's going to finish 4th to 8th currently. No. It could completely change before the end of this race, because Philip Barron's been under pressure and had a couple of moves done on him. At the beginning of the race, we see him run wide again into the final sector of the track. So will he stay there? I really don't know. A lot of pressure's been put on him at the moment from McNeil, and like you said, he is a cork in the bottle at the moment. There's cars behind.
Here comes Cooper McNeil taking a look at Philip Barron. We're on board with Philip Barron here, and Cooper McNeil right on him. The Rosso Corsa racer, Philip Barron, that we're on board with now, a former champion many occasions in the Ferrari Challenge. And you're absolutely right. As he moves away from the exit of the turn, it looks like he's got a slight advantage there.
Smeek did a very clever thing. He braked later, got the car turned, and got on the power earlier than Barron to get the move into one.
Okay.
Then McNeil tried to carry more minimum speed and had to back off. And the point where he backed off, Barron then was able to get on the power, and that's why you saw the difference in a straight line.
Thank you. Explained that perfectly for us. We have under 12 minutes of the race remaining, and as Sam has said, from P4 to P8, we don't know which way it's going to go. We do know that Fabio Lima is just stretching his legs and banking. He's the only driver who's lapping in the 52s. Every other driver's in the 53s or 54s, but of course Fabio Lima out front has got nothing to worry about. He can just focus on his race and focus on nailing every corner perfectly. Battle for first position in the AMs then is between Jens Liebhauser, as Alessandro Vezzoni and Cooper McNeil have gone.
Oh dear. Well, what's happened there?
What you were saying, between 4 and 8, we don't know which way it's going to go. What we do know is that Cooper McNeil is going to try and recover, and he's going to be able to be back out on track. I rather think that Alessandro Vezzoni is beached there in the gravel and is not going to be coming back. We'll get a replay of that just as quickly as we can. I suspect it was an overambitious move from Alessandro Vezzoni.
Potentially frustrated by the fact that there's traffic. Let's have a look. Yeah, absolutely. I don't think McNeil saw that at all. That came out of nowhere.
Well, drive-through penalty for car number 93, which is Chris Froggatt. We don't know what for. We've not seen that.
No, a bit naughty there from car 27.
That wasn't on really, was it? I mean, from that way back.
Not into that corner, not into that, and that's ruined Cooper McNeil's chances.
Well, Alessandro Vezzoni is a talented driver, but just on occasions, sees a gap open up and goes for it, but the gap really wasn't there from that far back.
No, not at all. It was a bit too far back, and that's destroyed McNeil's chances of finishing 4th. I mean, 4th, would he have been happy with that anyway? I don't know, but it's a damn sight better than finishing in 16th, which is where he currently resides.
We're looking at the race leader, Fabio Lima, who is 4 seconds up the road from Bjorn Grossman. And the drive-through penalty for car number 93, which is Chris Froggatt, who was running in P9 and was second in AMs. Don't know why he's got a drive-through penalty. We've certainly not seen it on screen, Sam, but...
it'd be nice to see why. He's running second in AM, as you say, quite comfortably. It's a big shame.
Tell you what, look how Sam Smith has got, you know, the margin he's opened up over Philip Barron is extraordinary.
Yeah, Barron's definitely not got the pace this afternoon of the front three. Front three, you know, definitely quite a chunk quicker than anybody else right now. Lima and Grossman running about the same pace, then Smith on his own about 0.8 a lap slower, and then everybody else is another second slower than that.
Yes, you're right. So here is Barron once again then being chased down now by Peter Ludwig, and Peter Ludwig has been chasing. The 199 car is driven by Wei Lu, and then it's Martin Fuentes behind, and here's Alessandro Vezzoni then, and up the inside of the Cooper McNeil car, and has just clips the back end of Cooper McNeil's car, and that pirouettes Vezzoni into the gravel, but you have to feel a little bit for Cooper McNeil there, who really didn't see that coming at all. So still no news on why we got a drive-through penalty for car number 93, which, as I say, is Chris Froggatt, the British driver. I was having a long chat with him at dinner last night about his ambitions and plans for this year, and Chris Froggatt is one of these drivers, Sam, that went through Corsa Pilota, spent the winter in the Middle East getting his racing license, and actually has been a remarkable find, I would say, in GT racing. He's come into the Ferrari Challenge and really has driven very, very well indeed.
Yeah, I would agree. Other mention for Liebhauser, who's putting so much pressure on Fuentes at the moment. Fuentes has moved up from 11th up to 7th, and
Yes.
Liebhauser now in P1 in the AM, but P8 overall. Good effort.
Yes, Jens is a very, very hard driver, and a very, very quick driver, of course, having taken already the AM championship. And Philip Barron doing everything he can to keep ahead of that car of Peter Ludwig at the moment, but you really hear everything almost squealing under protest from Philip Barron, who takes the rumble strips and kicks up gravel as well, and it's just not tidy, is it, Sam?
The tyres don't like him at the moment, that's for sure. The rear tyres on Barron's car are not going to be best pleased with him. But, you know, these guys are going to have to think about their moves if they're going to want to get past Barron, because he's definitely covering a lot of the track.
Yes, he is making that quite wide, isn't he? But then, you know, the race is on for position at the moment. Philip Barron is at P4 and doesn't want to relinquish that, and isn't going to relinquish that without a fight, which is why he's sticking his elbows out and, to say, making it very, very difficult for Peter Ludwig to find a way past. Just showed his face to the inside of the final turn, the Buccini turn then, as they run downhill towards the start-finish straight. We've got just on 6 minutes of the race remaining, the race being led by Fabio Lima, who's 4 seconds to the good over Bjorn Grossman, who in turn has got 10 seconds on Sam Smith, who is running in P3. Just see at the front of the Philip Barron car some real flapping about underneath the front of the car. Is that?
Well, his floor looks quite damaged, actually.
Yes.
If you look at the floor there's a lot of bodywork there that's scraping around. That's not going to be helping aerodynamically. That's because he's been through the gravel quite a few times in this race already. And, you know, the more you do that, the more damage you do to the underside of the car, the less downforce you have, the more pressure you put onto the tyres instead of through the aero. And all in all, he's making work a bit more difficult for himself. Having said that, he's still doing a great job in being P4.
Yes, he is, and he's Peter Ludwig, whatever he has tried, Philip Barron has had the answer to it, and has made sure he's put this car in a position where Ludwig is not able to take advantage. But you're absolutely right, Barron is having to take much more out of his car than probably anyone else, and he's got to continue to do that for another 5 minutes if he wants to hold on to this P4 position.
Yeah,
and
well, one more mistake from Barron, and this will be a really interesting battle, because you've got Lou and Fuentes chomping at the bit as well, right behind behind Ludwig.
Yes,
Ludwig, that's the one.
You're right, and tell you what, Liebhauser isn't far off being involved in that battle as well, as you pointed out just a couple of laps ago. So let's see, but it is perhaps going to require another error from Philip Barron, which you wouldn't bet against, because we've seen a few of those. And, well, sorry to report, having looked at the timing screen, that Cooper McNeil has retired the car and come into the pit lane. That's a great shame, Sam.
Yeah, big shame. It just hasn't been his weekend this weekend. He's been quick.
Yes.
I mean, the qualifying lap he did on Friday was superb. Watching that, I mean, it was very good. Peter Barron box.
So Barron being told to box the car then, which will take him out, and he is doing that. So all of a sudden, he's not boxing right this moment, but he's eased off and allowed all those others to go through.
Now, what's that about, I wonder?
There's none of the data that's been sent back to the engineers that would indicate problems. I mean, the floor is obvious, we can see that, but perhaps there's something else?
Yeah, but with 3 minutes 40 to go, I mean, it's the final. Wouldn't you want to just get it round for the next 2 laps? You'd go for it, wouldn't you?
Well, there's Chris Froggatt, who has taken his drive-through penalty. Sam and I are still utterly confused as to why Chris Froggatt got a drive-through penalty, but obviously stewards decided that that was the penalty that he was going to be awarded, a drive-through penalty, so he's taken that and he's back out on track again, but of course way down the order, unfortunately.
But going back to Barron, I mean, he was in P4, okay, he was struggling and there is some damage under the floor, or if the engine's overheating or anything like that, it is the final. You've got 3 minutes to go. Surely you finish the race. And
it's not like you're going to be racing next weekend, is it?
No, exactly. And because, if there's any issue with the top 3 drivers, anything that they see in scrutineering, and one of them gets thrown out for whatever reason, he's then on the podium. I find that really bizarre, really strange.
Well, we've got 2 3/4 minutes left, and Fabio Lima 4.2 seconds to the good. This is Peter Ludwig, who now finds himself elevated to P4, but in truth, he's such a long way back from Sam Smith. It's going to take a problem. And there we can see Cooper McNeil, who's having a conversation there with Alessandro Balzan.
Yeah, they're going to be teammates next year. I mean, Balzan's going to have an enormous seat insert. That's all
the difference between the two of them.
Yeah, I mean, difficult day for that team, difficult day for Scuderia Corsa. They work very hard on the cars, and their preparation is so meticulous. I know the boss and race for them in Daytona. They prepare a great car. It's a shame.
Well, we can see there Cooper McNeil sadly out, and there is Joshua Cartu in car number 30, who's running in P11 at the moment. Josh Cartu ahead of Chris Cagnazzi. There's Martin Nelson going through, and there you can see just ahead of Josh Cartu it is Go Max, and Josh Cartu really closing on Go Max through turn number 1. So Lima then 4 seconds to the good. Sam Smith, who's got some 12 seconds behind Grossman, but in turn is a huge chunk of time ahead of Peter Ludwig. So barring any errors or mechanical problems for Lima, Grossman and Sam Smith, they should be pretty safe, I would have suggested. So we watch this battle for Josh Cartu then, who's currently P4 in the AMS. And there in the 204 car is the Philip Pret car, which has returned following his trip into the pit lane earlier on in the race. P17 for Philip Pret, all over the back of the Negro car 248. As you can see, Philip Pret already having been crowned as Asia Pacific Trofeo Pirelli champion, and is pushing that 248 cars. I have to say, 2 of the most indistinct colours, I think, in these 488s. I'm sorry to say that, but just don't think they're at all dynamic.
Each their own opinion, I suppose, mate.
Yeah, you're right. Beauty is in the eye of, as they say. Final lap then that we are on. Final lap that Sam Bird, you predicted that Fabio Lima would be tough to beat if he could get a great start, which he did. And here's Philip Pret all over the back of that car now. There is Fabio Lima then for Octane 126, who have had another very, very good weekend, flashing his lights because backmarking traffic ahead of him. And this is what you were saying about Philip Barron, about keeping the car out there. All you would need is Fabio Lima to get involved in something with a back marker through no fault of his own.
Don't curse it.
No, I'm not going to.
Don't curse it.
And, all of a sudden Barron could be on a podium, couldn't he? But he's certainly not going to be because he's been called into the pit lane. So final lap, and Fabio Lima heading then towards the world final win.
Yep, as long as he negotiates this traffic which he does. Well done.
Couldn't have been better, could it, in terms of...
No, it's been a dream day for Fabio, starting from pole. He's just got 1 sector to go now before being crowned Ferrari World Finale champion. Pretty cool.
And podium as it stands is Liebhausen, Musso and Martin Nelson. But the pro podium is going to go the way of Fabio Lima, Bjorn Grossman and Sam Smith. If it stays this way around the final turns of this Mugello circuit, it brings to a close the 2017 season in the Ferrari Challenge. Fabio Lima has really not put a foot out of place for the entire race, and he has just turned 14 to do. But Grossman is closing up to his teammate now, isn't he? But it's all going to come really rather too late, as Fabio Lima should be able to cruise towards the checkered flag now. Fabio Lima, as Sam Bird alongside has indicated, will become the Finale Mondiale Trofeo Pirelli World Champion. Congratulations to Fabio Lima. A great drive from him. Bjorn Grossman will take P2. And it's also going to be a very, very well-deserved podium for Sam Smith, who should cross the line to take P3. Sure enough, here comes the Sam Smith car, some distance behind Bjorn Grossman, it has to be said. But Smith takes it, and then it will be Peter Ludwig. Looks like there could be a fight between Fuentes and Lou over the timing line, but it's as it was, and Jens Liebhauser will be the best of the AM drivers. So, delight all round, and Fabio Lima, I think, to be fair, showed us in that race, Sam, all the qualities that you said, and you confirmed that he has as a racing driver.
Absolutely. You know, I've always rated Fabio. I mean, he's maybe not got the chances that he deserved. Oh, and we see someone going wide out of the last corner. Not had the opportunities that he deserved after GP2, and I hope that winning something like this with this of this caliber can propel him into getting you know, either a manufacturer drive or something of real stature in the near future.
Shouldn't he be in ELMS or something like that, Sam?
That remains to be seen, but for sure Fabio Lima, he's back winning, and it's great to see.
Sam Bird, we know you've got to go and prepare to be out in a racing car that you're not going to tell us anything about, you rotten swine, but we thank you for all your efforts with us over the weekend and sparing the time. It's really appreciated. Sam Bird,
thank you very much.
And best
indeed.
of luck for next weekend.
Thank you. Cheers, guys.
So Sam Bird then off to prepare, and there's Jens Liebhauser's partner, who will be very happy with Jens' performance, who will be the AM World Champion, ahead of Mark Musso and Martin Nelson. And the pro podiums go in the way of Fabio Lima, Bjorn Grossman and Sam Smith. So European drivers then are world champions in both the pro category and the AM category. Cars making their way into the Parc Fermé area now, and the Ferrari flags being waved around this Mugello circuit. Christian Berchinger from Octane 126. 4 podium positions today, 458 Copa Shell and 2 in Trofeo Pirelli Pro. He'll be one happy team principal. Christian Berchinger as Fabio Lima out of the car. Great drive from Fabio. A great drive from Bjorn Grossman as well. He is a stellar and, in my opinion, very, very underrated German racing driver is Bjorn Grossman. Oh, Fabio is elevated onto the car. There's Fabio involved, and also a team member in Octane 126 as well. P1 for Fabio Lima, and Sam Smith you can see in the background as well, jumping onto the roof of his car. He's got a very well-deserved podium in this World Championship race. And there is our AM World Champion, Jens Liebhauser. What a season he has had. Johnny Lawson, who is the Copa Shell World Champion, down there to congratulate him. Niklas Nielsen in there as well, who's had a fantastic weekend. But across Formula Racing and Octane 126, been a very, very successful weekend for them, this Finale Mondiale weekend here at Mugello. So as we take a look at the highlights of the race then, it was Fabio Lima that got his nose in front right at the start of the race, and Bjorn Grossman and Philippe Barron having a real battle as the rest of the cars made their way through the first chicane as Teo Meyer from Pirelli Motorsport looked on. There were lots of battles going on. Unfortunately, we lost the 288 car of Tiger Wu, which ended up beached in the gravel and caused a safety car, which meant the early margin that Fabio Lima had built up would count for nothing, but he got the restart sorted absolutely perfectly. And Then it was Bjorn Grossman and Philip Barron having a trade over that P2 and P3 place. In the end, it would be Bjorn Grossman that would put himself ahead of Philip Barron, and this was a brilliant overtake from Sam Smith on Philip Barron. Sam Smith, the British driver, then diving out of the toe very late on, but going into turn number 1, he would take the outside line, which would give him the inside line for turn number 2. Brilliant overtake from Sam Smith. Cooper McNeil then in the 170 car was pushing as hard as he could, and unfortunately was on the receiving end of a push from Alessandro Manzoni, and that sadly would compromise his race. So McNeil was in a real battle with Philip Barron, and as a result of that little shove, Alessandro Manzoni would end up in the gravel and have to walk away from his car. Fabio Lima, it looked at this stage like he was going to walk away with the win, and that's exactly what he did when he took the checkered flag and became the Ferrari Challenge Trofeo Pirelli World Champion. And there is Sam Smith. We've just seen that fantastic overtake from him, and it was absolutely brilliant. Here, confirmation of the result then. Fabio Lima from Bjorn Grossman, Sam Smith, then it was Peter Ludwig and Wei Lu and Martin Fuentes, then Gomax, Philippe Pret, and then it was Negro and Barron occupying P9 and P10. So there we have it then. Confirmation of the results in Trofeo Pirelli Pro. So the two classes, pro drivers and AM drivers. The pro drivers we'll see on the podium, Fabio Lima, Bjorn Grossman, Sam Smith. And the AM drivers that we'll see on the podium will be Jens Liebhauser, Mark Musso, and Martin Nelson. As we speak, the drivers being hustled towards that podium right now. And as the graphics indicate, that's where we will be heading in just a few moments' time. So dignitaries from Ferrari here to make the trophy presentations up there on the podium. And a big number of Ferrari spectators here at the Finale Mondiale event here at Mugello. It has been a phenomenal season in the Ferrari Challenge, whether across North America, Asia Pacific or Europe. It has been a season to remember, and it's with a sense of anticipation that we look forward to next season. Laurent Demus then getting down at the pit lane underneath the podium. Super slow-mo of the Pro winner then, Fabio Lima for the Octane 126 team. Races.ferrari.com, the website, will reveal all the details of the calendars for North America, for Europe, and for Asia Pacific. But for Europe, we will kick the season off in Monza right at the end of March. Then we're off to Silverstone in the UK. Spa-Francorchamps. Can't wait to be back as part of the Ferrari Racing Days at Spa-Francorchamps between the 11th and the 13th of May. And then we're off to Misano at the beginning of June, 8th to the 10th of June, where we have races under the floodlights. Then it's Brno in the Czech Republic in July and Barcelona in mid-September before the Finale Mondiale later in the year. Date and venue TBC, to be confirmed. We know no more than that. Despite pushing some probing questions over the course of the weekend, I've had no confirmation of where Finale Mondiale is going to be next year. Michele Mambrelli then is about to get the drivers onto the podium for their celebrations then. Races.ferrari.com, I remind you, you can find there not only the European calendar for next year, but also for Asia Pacific and North America. And here comes Sam Smith then. P3, Anthony Cheshire, the team principal of FF Corsa. And here comes Bjorn Grossman taking P2. Johnny Lawson looks on. Fabio Lima on the top step of the podium. It's a place on the podium he knows well. National anthem for Fabio. Anthem plays out then for Fabio Lima.
Del Trofeo Pirelli, trofei d'onore sono presentati per il terzo classificato dal dottor Enrico Galliera.
Enrico Galliera then to make the trophy presentation to Sam Smith. He is the Senior Vice President for Commercial and Marketing at Ferrari. And Sam Smith receives his trophy.
Vice Presidente Ferrari.
And to Bjorn Grossman now, Piero Ferrari, Ferrari Vice President, making the trophy presentation to Bjorn Grossman. And Fabio Lima then on the top step of the podium is going to be presented with his trophy by the Ferrari Chairman and CEO, Sergio Marchionne, here at Mugello this weekend.
Dottor Gianni Guidotti, Direttore Tecnico, Pirelli.
Grossman, of course, has never won this World Championship title. Gianni Guidotti, then the Pirelli technical officer, making the Pirelli presentation.
Dall'altra parte del podio per completare, perfetto, dall'altra parte così, perfetto del podio. Per completare questa cartolina dal Mugello.
So all our trophy presenters and dignitaries along with the racing drivers up there on the podium.
Il dottor Piero Ferrari, il dottor Sergio Marchionne, il dottor Enrico Galliera, i vincitori e il dottor Gianni Guidotti. Chiedo ai piloti di salire, di alzare in alto i trofei e sorridere ancora una volta in alto i trofei. Lift your trophy, up your trophy please, and smile to photos and videos.
So all the photos being taken then as the trophies are held aloft.
Al dottor Marchionne, Galliera e al dottor Ferrari di uscire dal podio. Grazie per la vostra presenza. Attenzione, fermi un attimo. Attenzione, chiedo un attimo di calma.
And stand by Fabio Lima then, and Sam Smith and Bjorn Grossman go to battle on the podium with the champagne. So super slow-mos of the top three. Sam Smith takes P3. P2 goes the way of Bjorn Grossman, the title that has forever, thus far, escaped him. And P1, of course, to Fabio Lima in the number 8 car, takes the World Championship for Europe and Octane 126, his team. And Fabio Lima, Bjorn Grossman and Sam Smith especially having a great time up there on the podium. Next up, we will have the AM World Championship podium. And here is the classification. It's going to be Jens Liebhauser, Mark Musso and Martin Nelson. So 2 out of 3 podium places going the way of Europe, with North America then for Mark Musso, who takes P2 in the World Final classification. And there you can see the rest of the order there in the AMS. Super slow-mo of the Jens Liebhauser, race-winning or championship-winning car then in both the AM Championship across the season and in the World Final race as well. Here's Martin Nelson then making his way onto the podium then for Scuderia Autoropa. Mark Muso, P2. On the top step of the podium, here comes the German driver, Jens Liebhauser. Anthem plays out then for Jens Liebhauser. Been a great weekend for Formula Racing. Davide Rigon then making the trophy presentation to Martin Nelson. And Alessandro Pierguidi, who will make the trophy presentation to Mark Muso. And Jens Liebhauser once again on the top step of the podium. Mr. Antonello Colletta, the head of GT Sporting Activities, making the trophy presentation to Jens Liebhauser.
Il Trofeo Pirelli consegnato dal dottor Gianni Guidotti, direttore tecnico Pirelli.
Pirelli trophy still to come, and there it is. And it's a fantastic trophy. Gianni Guidotti making that trophy presentation to Jens Liebhauser. So photographs on the podium then, as everyone gets together, including Alessandro Pierguidi and Davide Rigon as well. Rise your trophies. And they all make haste their exit because the champagne is about to be uncorked in the final podium of the Ferrari Challenge for 2017, and Liebhauser gets it. So Mark Muso and Martin Nelson take a swig, and Jens Liebhauser tries to clear his eyes. Brilliant. Okay, some of the emotions here at Mugello. Well, a big thank you to our production team who have worked with me all year long, and especially my guy alongside me, Nicholas Spalek. That's it from the Ferrari Challenge for 2017. We'll see you in season 2018. Bye-bye.